Good afternoon, VV Nation. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Trending Thursday. My name is Ryan. It's always a pleasure to be with you guys. All right. I just want to make sure, can you hear me and can you see me? Because I'm actually on my own today. Clay and Joey had just left for Vegas, but they showed me the ropes on how to run the stream. So as long as you can hear me, as long as we could see me, I mean, that's a good start. That's a good start to the stream. I was a little nervous. Troy says yes and yes. And actually, it wasn't that difficult to start the stream. I was just, I guess, nervous for the first time doing it, right? Jake says, FYI, I watched the video. I bought BBAI this morning, Ryan. Jake, I just like the trade setup. I talked about, 2-3 weeks ago when there was a lot of hype behind Big Bear AI. Pretty much said, hey, that hype's coming to an end. Look for around 515. Price action drop just below that. I think it retested the 200-day. Did a nice pivot below that. But all looks good for Big Bear AI. We'll definitely take a look at it today, see if we're getting any follow through. But let's jump into the software, see what's going on today. It looks like we are getting some momentum to the upside from that inflation data out yesterday. I know it was very volatile in the markets yesterday. The Dow Jones up 150. The leader of the pack today going to be the NASDAQ. We got the NASDAQ up 1% right now. S&P up 0.5%. Look at the VectorVest composite, though, as well. At 0.91%. Second behind, not far behind it as well. So I have a feeling these small caps probably rallying based off of this interest rate cut. Again, interest rate cuts typically can benefit, smaller growth companies. So I can see the VVC definitely, benefiting from that. It looks like that is coming to fruition as of today. Now, as we take a look here, the MTI mini chart, you see the MTI climbing its way back up to historically high levels right now, around 1.41. Now, again, generally speaking, the MTI typically gets a little top heavy around 1.5 to 1.6. So again, we are on the upper echelon of the market cycle. Now let's jump into some news stories because there's actually some big things going on in the market today. See what could potentially move in the market. What's getting investors enthused today? Nvidia, good old Nvidia. And look who Nvidia is teaming up with. Intel. You can see Intel surges 24%. It's actually past that. Well, it's 22% right now. It was up closer to 30% earlier. We can see Nvidia to invest $5 billion in the chip maker. Co-develop data centers and PC chips. This is what I find interesting. Co-develop data centers. That's a huge, this in general is a huge opportunity for Intel to really get its act together and kind of, sail on the success of Nvidia. You see the Trump administration brokered a 10% stake in the company back in August. Does not appear to include the manufacturing of Nvidia chips with Intel's foundry. I don't even know if Intel has the capabilities to manufacture some of those, at least the higher end Nvidia chips. But I honestly, if you had purchased Intel, or if you're thinking about Intel, if you're rooting for Intel, being the domestic chip manufacturer here in the U.S., the staple, I think this is one of the biggest things for Intel as far as a catalyst to the upside. I can actually get excited about buying Intel now because of this partnership here. When one stock not loving this partnership, AMD. You see AMD stock falls after Nvidia Intel collaboration announcement. See AMD looks like stock dropped about 5% Thursday morning after competitors Nvidia and Intel revealed a strategic partnership to jointly develop AI infrastructure and personal computing products. This collaboration between AMD, two main rivals, sent shockwaves through the semiconductor industry, with Intel shares surging 30%, while AMD investors showed concern about potential competitive challenges. Yes, one of their biggest competitors is Intel. And if Intel is getting in the pockets of Nvidia, yeah, I could see that. Me, I love AMD. And like I said, this is probably the best thing I could have envisioned for Intel. Who knows what will happen, but if, potentially Nvidia could, broaden this partnership, or, maybe even potentially purchase certain segments of Intel. But I think, Intel's, they're a very important company, obviously, strategically. The Trump administration being a big advocate of Intel. By the end of the day, I mean, Nvidia's partnership, this is probably one of the biggest, positive boosters for Intel that I can think of in quite some time. And speaking of data centers, look at Microsoft here spending $4 billion on a second Wisconsin data center. Microsoft is spending $4 billion. The first one, scheduled to open in early 2026, will contain hundreds of thousands of Nvidia chips. Microsoft's president vice chair. Microsoft plans to match the amount of energy it consumes from fossil fuel sources with carbon-free energy. It will contribute to the grid, Smith wrote. So that's actually pretty interesting. They are still relying on traditional fossil fuels for energy demands when it comes to these massive AI data centers. I mean, look at the size of this thing. Whew. Let's see here, $4 billion. The first one will be online in early 2026, where the software company spent $3.3 billion. So the first one was $3 billion. This one going to be a little bit bigger. And this is what it's all about. The Blackwell 200 chips. These are the same chips that were banned in China. And you see cloud infrastructure providers are racing to build capacity to meet the needs of companies that want to run AI models. More than 700 people use ChatGPT. So all of these companies are going to be expanding their data centers. Let's see here. Amsterdam's Nebius Group said last week Microsoft has agreed to spend up to $19 billion over 5 years to rent AI data center capacity. Again, the demand is crazy. I did see this contract here. What I thought was interesting, Nebius Group, it only had like a $17 billion market cap with a revenue of around $100 million last year. With this deal, I mean, think about it. The deal alone is worth more than the market cap of the company. Well, depending on the day, right? But roughly speaking, this deal is worth more than the market cap of the company. And on top of that, I mean, this is billions of dollars of potential revenue each year now going forward. This is over the next 5 years. So almost $20 billion divided by 5 is $4 billion a year. So you're going from $100 million to now potentially billions of dollars in revenue. So I'm definitely a big advocate, or pretty bullish on NBIS or Nebius Group. This is what I thought was interesting. Goldman raises price target on Tesla, but still sees the stock decline. And the stock actually down today about 1/3% here. You see Tesla's growth outlook could provide some support for its shares, though it may still come down a bit from current levels, according to Goldman Sachs. They raised the price target to $395 from just $300. So that's actually a pretty significant price increase. I mean, 395 is about 25% increase. Big move there. But you can see they're still concerned. But this is what's all about here. In the long run, more optimistic about the path of Tesla's future growth, expecting earnings per share to expand thanks to larger contributions from autonomy and robotics. That is what's going to propel Tesla to go higher. It's going to be the robotics, not the cars. All right. Next one we got here is Fed. JP Morgan used an AI to break down the Fed decision. It indicates the most dovish bent in years. I thought this was interesting here. If I scroll down, where was it at here? Yeah, JP Morgan used AI-based natural language processing to analyze the Fed statement and Powell's prepared remarks. The machines told JP Morgan that this was the most dovish the Fed has been since 2021, which they blasted out to clients overnight. So you can see JP Morgan getting their clients pretty hyped up using this AI here. I think it's pretty interesting, but as far as the comments from the Federal Reserve, I can see a little bit more on the dovish side. Now, before we jump back into the software, just a reminder, this Saturday and Sunday, we have the Las Vegas 2-day investment seminar. Saturday, September 20th, and Sunday, September 21st. Hey, if you can't attend in person, all good. You can register for free. You can watch it on YouTube. Just go to VectorVest.com/stream. You can even get the agenda here. So it has all the times and the speeches. So, even if you don't want to watch all of the talks, if there are certain talks or certain, categories, whether it's ETFs or options, whatever it may be, you can partake in those conversations over the weekend with us. Now, let's go ahead and jump back into the software. All right, you see the major indices still in positive territory. It looks like the NASDAQ has pushed over 1% now. 234 points to the upside. Big move in the market there. Let's go over here to the watch list. So these are the stocks. And actually, let me add NBIS. I'm just curious what it's doing. All right, you can see the momentum today. Look, Intel, 22%. It's up actually over $30. It's been a while since Intel's been over $30 here. But look, we only value the stock at $19.37. A lot of people thought they were getting a value on this position here. I don't really see the value. As far as chasing this, I don't really like chasing Intel after it just jumped 22%. Wait for the dust to settle. We can look at the chart and take a look at some levels as well. But personally, I kind of want to see what is, I want to see more details of this partnership and just how intertwined this partnership is. Now, as far as stocks to the downside, the big loser today, AMD. Investors not too excited that AMD's, two largest competitors, or, two of them at least, being Intel and Nvidia, just team forces, right? So I'm not surprised the stock's, under a little bit of pressure today, down 1.5%. And even on a pretty big up day as well. Intel is the future. Nvidia needs a foundry. And I wonder how many old Intel foundries there are that they may not be utilizing that they can convert. But again, this collaboration between Intel and Nvidia is phenomenal. And honestly, Nvidia does need a foundry. But I feel like they would partner more so with TSM, or even if the three of them, whatever Intel can learn from Taiwan Semiconductors, or learn from Nvidia, I think they will only benefit. TSM is what knocked Intel off the pedestal in the first place, right? But yeah, huge opportunity there. Let's see. As far as buy-rated stocks here, only Nvidia and Intel have buy recommendations. As far as earnings, looks like Nvidia is leading the pack here at 34%. AMD in second place. Intel, look at that, earnings negative 8%. Just utilizing the VectorVest 7 software, I can't get too optimistic on this position. Just looking at the value overvalued. Fundamentally, with RVRS, not sound. Negative growth rate earnings. The only thing it's got going for is just the momentum with price trend being up 23% today, giving the stock a buy recommendation overall. So let's go ahead and jump in the charts here. Here is Nvidia. Let's zoom into a 3-month time span. All right, you can see price action of Nvidia. Let's use Dateline here. Just kind of moving to the side ever since it broke out of this ascending channel. Now, price action getting back above the 20-day EMA. I do like the sound of that. I see a little bit of an upper wick there, but we're pretty close to session highs. Another buy rating. Back on Nvidia. Nice. Maria says RX2 has been slagged. What is going with RX? That's an old one I haven't looked at in a while. Not a whole lot going on there, apparently. But yeah, as far as Nvidia, no real reasons for concern here. You see RT relative timing, even still above 1. Even after the dip on the low here, stays above 1.06. The bulls are in charge, and I like price action getting back above that 20-day EMA. Here's AMD. That is rejection at the 20, rejection at the 40. AMD I'd get a little bit more defensive on. You know, TSM, when it broke its ascending channel, just kind of moved to the side. It actually broke out to the upside. That's moving higher. Nvidia kind of moving to the side. AMD is moving to the side, but a little bit more downward pressure. And I'm just wondering if today's low is lower than the prior. Nope. Where's the low? 149.22. Today's low is 149.85. So we are just coming off that level right now. But again, rejection at the 20-day EMA. And right now we're seeing lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Almost another low today. So again with AMD, you know, if you're a swing trader, this was the move, right? Not much of a swing left. You know, if you're more of an investor, hey, you're going to handle it differently. You know, no real reasons for concern right now. The day after the Fed rate announcement is as interesting per the norm. Yeah. ASMG up 14%. At some point today, ASML is undervalued. I like ASML. What a nice day. Bought 5 times Intel calls 3 days ago. Cleared at the open for $2,300 in profit. Whoo! Linda says TSM isn't scared of Nvidia Intel. It's up still yet again. Oh yeah, TSM is not gonna be scared of Nvidia Intel, right? Because TSM is the foundry, you know. Nvidia is not gonna go to Intel looking for foundry advice. No. Those two would be good to partner up with TSM. You know, the only one I see here, this not benefiting really much is AMD, right? Kind of be left out of the crowd. Here's Intel. Look at that gap up. You can see the gap up, went to the upside, but now we're coming off session lows here. If I scroll back, let's see where we jumped right into the gap, it looks like here. See where the gap is? Or right above the gap. So I really want to see price action stay above about $29. But overall, it looks pretty good on this up movement here. You can probably get some resistance somewhere in here. Closer to $36. But still, after that big gap up, I'm not in a rush to, buy it. We are not getting the follow through that I would like to see. Here is NBTIS, Nibius. I talked about Nibius breaking above. Let's do 6 months here. Above this ascending channel here. Broke above it. Retested that channel. If I extend this out here. I mean, that's a perfect retest. I like it. And this was my long-term trend line coming off level support here. Yeah, price action still remains above both of these. I like this a lot. Let's take a look at value here. Value coming in. Value's ticking back up. $13.70. $13.70. Quantum is still on a big run. Speaking of Quantum, see what IONQ is doing, because that was last week. I did a video on Quantum. Look at that. Whoo! Did anybody get in on IONQ after my video Friday? Man, I was telling you, watch out for Quantum in general. That trade setup is definitely coming to fruition here. I wonder what some of the other ones are doing here. Let's put in D-Wave. See what it's doing. Yeah, look at that. $16 to $24. This is when I did the video because the moving averages were in our favor. But look at that. Nice, nice, nice. I love it when a good video comes together. I try to put you guys on the winning trades. As QUBX, I imagine that's a leveraged ETF, if I had to guess, Alex. But yeah, that worked out perfectly. Don't be too greedy. I'm just curious. That's not going to work. Maybe this one? That'd probably be my price target right here. I don't know. If you're in D-Wave, put this line, connect these two. That's probably going to put us closer to $30. I see that's where, that would be my price target, is going to be based off of, if I see rejection as we approach this line here, which, approaching closer to $30. But overall, I'm glad that Quantum is working out for everybody this week. Why are Quantums up 50%? Well, Nectarios, it's because I did the video last Friday. That's why they're up 50%. No, I'm just kidding. The moving averages, just the charts, we're just setting up for, looked like bullish momentum. But to be honest, I was going to do the video this week. I didn't realize I pushed it out Friday because IO&Q had their analyst day, which is pretty much like, an Apple day. They're just, showing their products, things like that. And the stock jumped. And because of that, all the rest of them started jumping right behind it. So that's kind of why quantum is moving. And then I noticed, Trump's talking about quantum with the UK speech. I guess there's going to be some quantum, partnerships with the UK. So I imagine that type of publicity also. Implementing quantum with AI, Maria says. I got over Getty with a small profit. Steven says, why is the value so low for Nibius? Because our value is very stringent and it goes off of earnings. Look at the earnings per share. It's negative. This company is not making money. Growth rate in earnings, negative, right? So I tell this to people all the time. If you see undervalued AI stocks, if you see undervalued crypto stocks, undervalued quantum stocks, you probably should put those on your radar because our valuation is very stringent. You just go to YouTube, type in stock market cycles, stock valuation of stock market cycles. Type it in on YouTube. It's a presentation by our founder, Dr. Alito. He's a mathematician. And he goes into the formula of it. Great presentation. So if you really want to understand what our value and what the calculation is and get the best bang for your buck, I'm going to tell you, just go YouTube that video, stock valuation, stock market cycles, Dr. Delito. And he goes right over the formula. So definitely check that out when you get a chance. But as far as Nebius, as long as it stays above this ascending channel here, I'm liking it. Here is Microsoft Corp. Just taking a breather after this big run. No real concern here. We're seeing price action back above the 20-day. Value also rising here. You can see Microsoft is overvalued. Great forecasted data, rising earnings per share. But if we take a look here, look at RT relative timing, giving us a sense that the trend is not in the favor of the bulls. That occurred back on August 20th, and price action hasn't done much since then. The VectorVest valuation is one of the first things I look at. Yeah, Warren, it is a great indicator. But I'm telling you, if you can find, very retail heavy or very hyped up industries such as quantum, such as AI, if you find stocks in there that are undervalued, put them on your radar. Quantum was too volatile for me, Maria, and that can definitely be the case. Quantum is very volatile. It's very speculative. The technology is going to change the world. Now, who's going to be the winner and who's going to make all the money doing it? No one knows that game. Most of these companies aren't even making money right now. There's a couple of them that got enough cash on the books to last them a while. IO&Q being one of those. D-Wave being another one. All right, Tesla taking a breather after its big jump up. You see the moving averages moving up here. It's just the valuation concern. Earnings per share, all the forecasted data. But it's approaching new highs. You can see the high coming in here. Let's delete this. 488. So you're about 60 bucks from the high. What is the bold green dashed line? This one? Or this one? Because this one is value here. This one here is a 200 day. So I've got a 20, a 40, and 200 day. But yeah, Steven, as far as the valuation, it's very stringent. It's not going off a hype and what the stock can potentially do and all this stuff. No, it's very earnings based. Very earnings based. All right, let's get out of here. How much time we got left here? We got about 30 minutes left. Let's do this. Since we don't have a live stream tomorrow, because I'll be traveling to Vegas for the 2-day investment seminar. And again, if you want to check that out and you can't fly out there, just go to VectorVest.com/stream. All of the presentations from all of the presenters will be online there. All right, let's go ahead and give me some stock symbols. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and celebrate me going to Vegas this weekend with some good old-fashioned, lots of customer stock picks. All right, we got SoFi, NRDS, TTMI. UAMY, that stock, I mean, it's getting closer to $6 now. It's crazy. Bill, AMD has made me lose all the time to have lost money on AMD. See here, AY, AS, UETS, Mara, AMPX. iBit, open. IONQ, Oklo. Roger says, should I bring a laptop to the Vegas presentations? I mean, you can, Roger. I've seen people bring them. It really just depends. If you like to follow along with the software, you can go ahead and bring it. But me personally, I like it not bringing my laptop so I can, fully engage in the talks and presentations. But yeah, Roger, if you want to bring it, you can. Don't feel like you have to bring your laptop, though. Amir says, sorry, Ryan, but anytime I bought it, I lost money on AMD. I'm sorry, Amir. Its two main chart patterns have been a descending channel for quite a few months and then an ascending channel for quite a few months. All right, let's start with these here. Well, we got 27 stocks. Whew, that's quite a few stocks here. If we have some time at the end, we can definitely take some more stock picks. Alton says, bring the laptop so you can run searches and strategies while you are there. Well, Alan, I'm not going to say it's a bad thing, but if you are running searches and strategies, you may not be giving your full attention on the actual presentation, though. On the actual presentation. NVTS. Oh, actually, I'm going to look at NVTS. That was, I did a video on that. That was Nvidia Semiconductor. Another one I'll do is, actually, let's look at Big Bear AI, since that was the video I did last night. Troy says, I bought more Nvidia today. Let's take a look, see what these stocks are doing here. All right, the top of the list, UAMY. And I saw UAMY is now, some days it could be a top VST stock, and some days it could be a top Midas Touch stock. That's crazy to think. We were talking about the stock when it was 80 cents, and now it's become one of the most, highly revered stocks in the VectorVest database. Another stock here is Gilat Satellite Networks. These stocks here all have the highest combination of value, safety, and timing. Let's see where the momentum is today. Okay, we got Oklo, double leverage, ASML, double leveraged, Micron, no surprise, Marathon Digital, okay, D-Wave, Amprius Tech, a lot of momentum to the upside. Let's go down to the bottom here. Not many losers today. We just got Pan Am, Silver Corp, Open Door, United States Natural Gas. Amir, I've been talking about Micron a lot over the last 2 months, especially when it was around $100 coming off of that support level. I was pointing out, but yeah, we'll take a look at those. Let's take a look at what are some of the best growth stocks in the list here. Now, these are the stocks with the highest growth rate and earnings. So if you're looking for high growth stocks, these are them. We got U.S. Antimony, SoFi, Bloom Energy, Uber, Grab Holdings, Nerds Wallet. So that's what NRDS, Nerd Wallet. Okay, gotcha. That makes sense. Amtech, and then Gilat Satellite. Where do I get to the schedule for Vegas? Just go to vectorvest.com/stream. Right above the countdown at the bottom of the page, over on the left, you'll see agenda. That's where you go. Let's see where the worst is. So as far as earnings, from Big Bear AI all the way down, we've got negative earnings. Big Bear AI, Quantum Computing, Navitas, IONQ, Marathon, Bitmine, Oklo, Cogent. A lot of these companies here, you can see negative earnings. As well with that, look at that. Very poor RVs, very poor RSs. These are very speculative stocks down here at the bottom. Ryan coins are rocking. Do they have a Ryan coin? Up 65%, and UAMY thinking of taking half by the end of the day. Troy, 65%, not a bad way to take half off the table. I bought MU after Ryan pointed it out. Great day today. Excellent, excellent. Only one I hate is AMD. Man, that's the one I love. It's been an ascending channel, since the rally, kind of like Nvidia. But let's see here. Grab looks pretty, quite the jump in 12 days or so. Let's take a look at these charts. These stocks are moving here. Quite a bit, some of them. All right, so here's UAMY. I mean, look at the momentum pick up. 6 full body candlesticks in a row here. And valuation's trying to keep up. You see valuation coming in just under $4 at $375. However, price action pushing itself even further higher, $588. Forecasted data, spectacular. 49% growth rate in earnings. That's one of the highest in the entire database. Sales growth rate, 187%. Rising earnings per share. A lot of momentum with this stock. You got to ask yourself if you're more of a trader or if you're more of an investor, and act accordingly. Here is SoFi. Look at SoFi. Actually, it's going to break above this. Yeah, SoFi might actually get a nice little parabolic move after breaking above this line here. See, full body candlestick. Currently at session highs right now, 28.53, diverging away from that 20-day EMA. I do like that finally there's some life coming into valuation. If we notice here, let's use a date line. We valued the stock $7 at the beginning of this year. And now that value's climbed up 50%, just over $10 now. Rising earnings per share. It looks like a great stock. And again, going above this trend line here, I could see the stock getting parabolic, at least for the short term. Here is Bloom Energy. Another parabolic stock. I mean, for this kind of stock, using something like Star Search, not a bad idea. You can see that fast lane there. Price action, as long as it stays in that fast lane, hey, ride it out, right? But I will say this, if the stock was $20, now it's $80, somewhere along the line you want to protect some profits. So make sure you don't forget to protect your profits here. Here's Uber. Let's go back to the other graph layout. Uber, nice steady rise. I do like this swing high here, taking out the prior swing highs. As of right now, we're hitting higher highs and higher lows. Price action, just want to keep it above these moving averages, showing a little bit of weakness right now after the sell-off the last 2 trading sessions, but buyers trying to find a level of support right at that 40-day, so we want that to hold. As far as the forecasted data, earnings growth rate, 37%, nice. Sales growth rate, 18%, I like it. Alex says, with Star Search, would you take profits when it enters the middle lane or slow lane? You take profits when it crosses below that Bollinger Band, when it enters into the slow lane. So when you go from the fast lane and then you cross below that upper Bollinger Band, the standard deviation of 1, that's when you would want to take profits utilizing that Star Search method. Here we've got Grab. You see Grab, nice pivot off these 200-day moving average consistently here. The parabolic move really picking up over the last few trading sessions. Upper wick, we are retracing from session highs right now, coming at 634. Look at the forecasted data. All 3 categories on the rise over the last few months. Gotta love that. Growth rate earnings, 31%. Sales growth rate, 23%. And the RT relative timing keeps kicking up, showing us that the bulls are clearly in control of this position. Here is Nerd Wallet. Nerd Wallet, this could be a nice breakout as well. You see the 200-day moving average price action just getting above that 200-day as of now. Fresh buy rating in the mix. On top of that, growth rate, 28%. Sales, 24%. Rising earnings per share. Also, look at the RT relative timing. It's just getting out of the just crossing from below 1 to above 1 now, showing an early entry on this trend currently. But yes, we just want price action to pierce this 200-day moving average, stay above it. Here is Amtech Systems. Big parabolic move. This is another stock you could consider utilizing Star Search for. As far as value, you're not going to get it with this stock. We only buy the stock at $4.32. Forecasted data, pretty mixed bag, 26%. That's good on the earnings side. Sales side, not so good. It's actually negative 27%. And the forecasted earnings per share also just went in a negative territory over the last few months. This actually looks like a really good stock. Look at the value. Keeps climbing, both value and price action. Lower left, upper right. Phenomenal stock chart here. Just hit a 12-month high a few sessions ago. Update today. As far as the forecasted data, double digits, positive in both categories here. 25%, 37% respectively. This is a beautiful stock here. This GILT. Of all the stocks so far, this is definitely one to have on your radar. I'm not saying, to go out and necessarily have to buy it today, but I like the forecasted data. I like the value. In a hot space, telecom's been hot lately. I like it. Linda, expecting pullback in October, and I will probably pick them both up again. We'll see. Selling things that are high except Nvidia. Linda, that's actually not a bad bit of advice there. Again, I'm still on the mindset of protecting profits right now. When is the party? Can't wait to see you all in person. Just very sad Glenn is not going to be there. Amir, you're going to be in Vegas? Now, I did get to see Glenn at our company picnic this past weekend. I mean, obviously, he's not going to be in Vegas. As much as I'd love for him to be there, just health, all that good stuff is not going to happen. He did seem pretty optimistic with Tampa. I'm not saying he's going to be there, but he seemed optimistic about Tampa. His wife seemed optimistic. We shall see. We shall see. But just keep him in your prayers, and hopefully we'll have him in the Tampa event. All right, but yeah, PAS, Pan American Silver, just like the other stock, right? Undervalued. Value on the rise, price action on the rise with this position. Now, this position is going to be with mining gold and silver. So, again, it's going to follow gold and silver. As of right now, what I really do like about this stock, look at the retest of the 20-day. So, if you're thinking about this stock, I was a little overextended for you this past week. This retest on the 20-day might not be a bad entry point on a gold and silver mining company. So, if you're looking for a gold and silver mining company, not a bad stock, and we're looking at a nice pivot here at that 20-day right now. Forecasted data, 24%, 18%, right? Not bad. Earnings per share, rising. I do like, I've said this before. When it comes to gold stocks, be picky because there's so many good quality, undervalued, great forecasted data gold stocks. Be picky about them. Maria says praying for a speedy recovery for Glenn. Thank you, Maria. All the prayers are definitely much appreciated. Ryan, what's the difference between Tampa and Vegas? You know, I don't know the exact difference. I know some of the speeches are different. Some of the material is actually different. I've never been to either event in person. I've watched them before, and I know that they're a little bit different. Green Dean, thank you, Green Dean, $9.99. I appreciate that. You want a stock? Normally we do a stock pick for anyone that does a super chat. So if you have a stock you're interested in, Green Dean, we can definitely do that. Everyone else put some ones in the room. Thank you for the super chat. Again, we appreciate, any type of support on the channel here. But Green Dean, let me know. We can get you a stock pick in the mix. Linda says, Bill, I hate swing trade as often. I have gotten stuck with it. Life gets busy. But again, look for this pivot here. I like this pivot shaping up. This is actually, for a gold and silver company, this is showing a pretty good buying opportunity here off this 20-day. Here is TTM Technologies. I mean, look at the values on the rise, prices on the rise. You can see I was looking at the stock before. Look at the breakout here. Breakout on the descending trend line. Retest on this trend line. I call that an anchor. That's a beautiful looking anchor. Momentum the next day to the upside. I mean, that's perfect. Textbook. Perfect. Amir, well, thank you, Amir. You're feeling mighty fine today. $19.99. Green Dean, let me put these in here. We got AMD. Oh, JK. OC. That's a good one. Amir, did you want a stock as well, bud? What are you thinking? Yeah, look, now I got 30 extra bucks to gamble. I'm going to turn it into $1 million. I could either gamble it, or I could get a nice margarita by the pool. Which one should I go for? All right, this is a fiber optics company. I've talked about the fiber optics. It's actually been a while. I saw huge momentum with this space, and I think it was like earlier this year, maybe around this time when it was hot. You see it cooled off. Back to being a hot space. Look at this. That looks like a flagpole, kind of a flagpole. If I do a freehand line here. Flag. And I got my pole. John says, Ryan, are you leading in this company stock picking challenge? I'm number 2 right now, John. Number 2. I think I'm at around 320%. Alex, I think last time I looked was around 360%. So we are neck and neck. I am in a short position right now on SOGP. But we'll see. Actually, what is the... I'm at 345 right now. 345. Up 6% today. 345. But this is OCC. So we got a flag pattern. You could see, look at the volatility today. Upper wick, lower wick. I mean, obviously we're going to need to wait for the breakout, right? See where it goes. If it breaks out to the bottom of the flag, I would look for a retest right around this 20-day EMA. Might pierce it, might hit this level of support. Because again, we broke this resistance. We haven't retested it yet. So if we break to the downside, I'd look for price action to come here. Almost like a little fake action. And then pivot back to the upside. Otherwise, if it breaks to the upside, you could always use the pole here to get your price target for the next one. Right? Which will probably put you about... 8 to 10, 7 to 10. It's $3. I'll probably put you closer to 13 if we get a breakout to the upside. Amir says, yes, I am going to be there with my mom. OMG. Oh, really, Amir? That's awesome you're bringing your mom. I can't wait to meet her. I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, no, great stock here. Flag pattern. If we get a breakout to the downside, I'd look for a fakie and a pivot, probably around this 20-day EMA to the support zone here to retest this and back to the upside. Otherwise, I like what I see here. Forecasted data, nothing to brag about. As far as the stock itself, lower left, upper right, I like this position, and I like fiber optic companies. A lot of opportunities in fiber optics. Ryan, how do I get the schedule? You'll come here. You just go to VectorVest.com/stream. That'll bring you to this window here. And right below him here, these beautiful, handsome gentlemen here, especially the one in the middle. That's a very handsome looking guy. You'll see these two buttons, one of them being agenda. And then that's where you'll get the schedule, bud. That's where you'll get the schedule here. And anyone else who needed that information. I'm trying to think if there's anything else while we're here that you should be aware of. No, just the day 2 description. No. That should be just about anything. And if you want a little bit more information on the speeches, there's a synopsis here you can take advantage of. Will there be an online Q&A this weekend? Honestly, Marcus, I don't know if there will be a Q&A, but I will say this. We do have reps from the phones, and I might actually be helping out moderate some of that, the YouTube, the comment section. So, if you do have questions, that we will be able to address some of those questions during the live stream on YouTube. But as far as like Q&A, I don't think there's a Q&A. At least I did see one in particular in the agenda. Not saying we won't take questions, but don't hold me. Don't peg me to it. Don't peg me to it. All right, let's get back to the software here. We got a couple more stocks wrap up today, and then it's a matter of getting packed and getting on a plane tomorrow morning. All right, so here's TTM Technologies. I mean, this is beautiful. I mean, value keeps rising. Price action is just chasing value. Right now, the stock is slightly, it's fairly valued, we'll say. Forecasted data, 23, 21%, rising earnings per share. I like this all together. And this was a textbook breaking the trend line with a nice anchor there, retest, and then pivoting to the upside. So here's Ampix. I'm just curious here. Wonder if there's any levels back here. Oh yeah, there are. Oh no, we just surpassed that. No levels of resistance in sight. I'm not going to chase it. If you're in it and you're trying to capture those profits, use something like Star Search. Use something like a 3-day EMA. Something to take profits off the table. I mean, the stock was $4 not long ago, and now it's $11. Here's EOS Energy. Another big mover over the last few trading sessions, but just generally speaking, lower left, upper right, you could see the buying opportunities coming off the 200-day moving average. If you want to give it a little bit of a breather, you could see if price action come back down, maybe pivot off the 20 or 40. But overall, I like the stock. Forecasted data, not shabby, 18. Sales growth rate maxed out. The only thing I'm not liking is just the forecasted earnings per share. A steady decline over the last 6 months when it comes to that EPS data. Here's Open Door Technologies, ascending channel, clear breakout to that channel. You can see we've been within the body of this candlestick this entire time here. Tried to break out of it yesterday, upper wick. So I'm not too I'm going to put it like this. As long as we remain in the body of this candlestick, I'm really not going to act too much on the stock here. Stock's still trying to figure out what it wants to do after this big move up. If it comes back down and retest this channel at some point, wouldn't be surprised by that. But I do like the forecasted data, the earnings per share. It is negative, but it looks like we could go positive here in the very near future. Here is Qubits. Let's scroll back here. Oh. Here's qubits on 1 year. I still see qubits going up to like 28 bucks in testing this line here. I see a little upper wick there, but yeah, my intuition is it's still going to want to go up here. A lot of momentum. You see growth rate and earnings, 9%. Sales, 42%. Earnings per share is negative. But look at that RT. The momentum is with the bulls right now. And I'm not going to fight that momentum. Here's Cisco. One thing I will say about Cisco, always trading at a premium. But look at the valuation really climbing over the last few months here. Now the stock is undervalued. We value the stock at $69.81. Only trading at only trading at $68.33 right now. As far as the forecasted data, kind of a turnaround story here. Both earnings and sales were negative. Now they're positive 5% and 8% respectively. Earnings per share also ticking up quite a bit over the last few months. So I do see some prospects for Cisco. Here is ASMG. This is 2 times leveraged ASML. You see the big gap up here to $20. Pretty range bound right now. Indecision with the upper and lower wick. Edward says, Ryan, does a star search layout have a good track record for entry and exit on stocks? Yes, it does. I've used it quite a bit, but it's more for momentum style of trades. We have videos on that strategy. Just go to YouTube, type in star search, VectorVest, and you'll see videos and tutorials that go into more detail on how to properly utilize the star search method. I need to make sure my mom be busy shopping so I can party and gamble with Ryan. Stop it. Not much of a gambler or a partier. But yeah, as far as ASML, I like the stock in general. I've put ASML in the what I coined the semiconductor mafia. Just their technology goes right into the hands of TSM, the world's most powerful and largest semiconductor manufacturer. Here's IBIT. There's the support level I was looking for. Price action coming off that support level now. Looks like we're diverging away from the moving averages. I like Emmett. Bitcoin. I'm not going to say I don't like Bitcoin. You guys all know I like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Here is Jets. U.S. Global Jets. Let's go to 6 months here. I like the price action. Just very simple. Lower left, upper right. A little bit of volatility in between. And you notice every time you get around this 40-day, pretty good time to pick up shares, just like here. And we're just coming off that 40-day now. So if you wanted to, pick up a couple more shares and a rising stock, not the worst idea. Here's MUU. I've been talking about Micron. And actually, what we're going to do is we're just going to talk about Micron because that makes more sense. This was that pivot I was talking about. We came up here, retested it, pivot. I mean, this is a perfect textbook trade setup. But I didn't know the stock was going to go to $170 in no time. I'm not going to pretend like I did. I had some crystal ball. A lot more momentum I was thinking. But at the end of the day, I mean, we see Nvidia, we see AMD trade around their values. I mean, this stock here, look at the value, just keeps climbing. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to put a $250 price target, but I am not going to be shocked to see Micron trading above $200 come the beginning of next year. I'm just not. Maybe sooner. Who knows? But I'm just not going to be shocked by that. As far as forecasted data, great stock, double digits here, rising earnings per share. So yeah, if you want to leverage that stock with MUU's double leverage, hey, do it, right? But just remember, went from $20 now $42. You have doubled your money if you got in there around $20, right? So just, protect profits at the end of the day. Because again, I like the trade setup. I just didn't know the stock was going to make that much of a move in that short of a time. And now you're double leveraging it. So, take some profits and run. TNA, I'm not saying you got to do it today. You use Star Search or something. I know it's an update today. Probably not, the best day to, take a profit on Micron. But still, don't let those profits go away. Here's the small cap bulls. I mean, this smooth. This is just a smooth chart. Lower left, upper right, triple leverage on the small caps. And I was talking about the VectorVest composite showing a lot of momentum today. You can see that exemplified here with the small caps coming at $47. I like it all, especially with interest rate cuts in the mix right now, or an interest rate cut cycle. That's going to be good for small caps, simply put. Here's UNG, United States Natural Gas Fund. I don't like this. Look at the rejection. at the 40-day. Rejection, 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 rejection. I'm going to be bearish on this. I would only like this for a bearish scenario. Here's Big Bear AI. This is the video I did last night. This is the pivot I was talking about off the 200-day and right in my level of support here. You can see price action making its way to the upside. This was my confirmation here, the resistance, which we did get above. Now, I do have a descending trend line here. Right now, that descending trend line puts the price target around $8. So if you are, a swing trader, if you are a momentum trader, Big Bear AI, just something to have on your radar. Qubit, again, just like the other quantum stocks, I just saw last week where price action, the moving averages were starting to come in our favor here. This is level support I had. I saw a triple bottom here, breaking this trend line and then retesting it here. I mean, just textbook bullish setup. So that's why I wanted to put quantum on your radar. I'm still going to be bullish on it. Here is Nvidia. Now, Nvidia, this is where I was kind of looking for it to come back to, was about 462. You can see the 200-day making its way up there. I see the optimism right now. We're seeing right now 681. I like that for price. Now, as far as, if price action really starts ticking up here, picking up some momentum, we could try to potentially retest this trend line from the bottom. So this kind of would be my price target, which is, on its way to $8 right now. The stock's currently trading just at $6.80. IONQ, just like the other quantum stocks, I like it. Again, we got an upper wick here. Just like Micron, I didn't know the stock was going to go from $40 to $70 in just a matter of a few candlesticks, right? So don't be greedy. If I help put these on your radar, just, and I'm not talking about the investing perspective, but, even as an investor, you might shave some off the table. But that is a big move here. I like what I see. I just don't like this upper wick here. Just be careful. We know these are very volatile stocks. If I go to a year, yeah, we're at new highs here. Uncharted territory. Maybe use something like Star Search, right? Help capture that momentum. I don't want to give you all these good stock trades and then, you're sitting pretty with profits and you don't take any profits and all of a sudden the trade starts going against you, right? Here's Mara. I like this. Look at this. RT just went into positive territory. 1.24. Big body candlestick today. I do see resistance here around $20. Let's go to a year. Yeah, we're $1 away from that. Hey, if you want to play it up to the 20, I get it. But otherwise, since we're so close already, the big move's already been made. I'd wait for confirmation, wait for a break above 20. Otherwise, I still like it. I did a video on these crypto stocks, not for crypto, but for AI data center purposes. Linda says, wait for pullback on Micron before you buy, love. I 100% agree with that, right? I was talking about buying it, $40-50 ago, right? It's moved up quite a bit. Hey, Ryan, can you show us how to use Star Search on the chart? Yeah, we could do that. Let's see. Here's BMR. This is the Ethereum treasury. Yeah, as long I'm bullish on Ethereum. I like what I see here. Very speculative, though. I mean, overvalued. Growth rates negative. So just be careful there. But I do like Ethereum. Here's Cognant. This is rejection at the 40. We're approaching that 40 now. I'm going to be bearish on this one as well. Here's Oklo. All right, so here's Oklo. So perfect example here because this is going to be momentum. So let's take a look at the Star Search here. Let's go to 3 months. Boom. So Star Search, right? Here's price action. We're in. We just approached the fast lane here. So when price action gets in this fast lane, it's where you typically like to see momentum. So here is when you would, enter the position. You see price action get into the position. This day you may have entered it and just didn't know it was going to be a down day, but you probably would have entered it here or here. You'd ride price action up as long as it stays in the fast lane. You see these little drops here that could have knocked you out, or you could use stop criteria. Typically for Star Search, I like using like a trailing stop, something of that nature. But since you're just riding price action to the upside here, and just to the most recent example, I will note that whenever price action touches the standard deviation of 3 upper Bollinger Band, it usually likes to halt or pull back. You see it hit this, and it just kind of went flat. And for the bearish side, so here's an example here. Price action goes up, drops back down, goes up. This could be the trade here or this one, either way. Now, this is the center lane. This is where indecision is given, right? And this is the slow lane. So if you want to be bullish on a position, you want price action in the fast lane up here, right? When price action's in the middle, you're not using star search, you're not entering. And when price action is at the bottom or the slow lane, this is where you would get bearish on a position, right? Alrighty, it's 3 o'clock, and I got the daily color guard report today. So if you are going to watch the daily color guard report, we'll start at 3:55 today. On that note, it's been a wonderful presentation. A lot of good stock picks from you guys and gals today. A lot of good stock picks. You know, some of these stocks, definitely put them on your radar here. A lot of undervalued plays. Go back to the home page and just see where the market's at right now. Yeah, still in positive territory. NASDAQ still leading. I'm not surprised by this. And this is what I was talking about before. The VectorVest composite also showing a lot of enthusiasm today compared to the S&P and the Dow Jones. Up almost 1%, right? The small caps making a big move right now. So I will be bullish on small caps, more speculative plays. Think about it. Interest rate cut. Quantum stocks going, bonanzas right now. I'm not surprised by that, right? All right, everybody. Again, it's just me today. I'm glad that the stream was a success, that you could hear me, you could see me. I will be joining Clay and Joey tomorrow afternoon as well. I will be at the hotel tomorrow afternoon. So if any of you guys and gals are flying in tomorrow, I will be there. And I'm looking forward to seeing you. Everyone have a wonderful day. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you next time. Take care.